Let's make some Christmas decorations. Hello everyone, I'm Caroline and today we're going to make some quick and easy Christmas decorations I think you'll love. There are a few quirky ones in there. I've been looking around the high-end shops and it's amazing what you see. So I thought I'd give it a try so we can see how those came out. And don't forget, let me know at the end which one is your favourite. I'm thinking number 10 is at the moment, but I'm not quite sure. So let me know how you get on with picking a favourite. Right, no time for chatting. Let's get on with crafting.
Angels we have heard on high, sweetly singing o'er the plains.
For this quick and easy Christmas decoration that looks absolutely stunning, you'll just need a few bits and pieces. You've got these cookie cutters. Now you may not have posh ones like these. I picked these up in the sale after Christmas and they got like a painted edge. I think it is. Oh no, it's a bit of plastic. Stop you cutting your hands. I told you they were posh. If you want to get this effect, just pop some white acrylic paint on, or you can leave them silver. Depends what you want to do. You could put some glue and put some glitter, couldn't you? Now, I could make two decorations with these, but I want something with a little bit of pizzazz. If I was going to do something to go on a wall, I would probably do this sort of effect and make it like a long diagonal decoration. But for this, because it's going to be a Christmas tree decoration, I'm going to put this inside here. And then I'm going to get some ribbon. I've got various ribbons around the place. I'm trying not to clutter my desk today. It's not working so far. So I'm just going to tie a knot around those top, well, the points of the stars to hold them both together. I think I'll put a double knot in. Why not? Same they charge. I should have mentioned this. You need to leave enough so that you can tie a knot in it. But I don't suppose you're crafting at the very second with me. So even if you're crafting along, then you'll be fine. This is the thing with the easy crafts too. You can craft along to a certain extent. Sometimes if I'm doing something boring, I'll stop that clattering. I'll turn the camera off and turn it back on. But generally with a craft along, you can just join in and pause the video occasionally. So I've got that and I think that's perfectly serviceable on its own. You could put a dangly thing in there and just leave that like that. But that's not enough for me. I'm going to put on something a little more flamboyant. I do love a bit of flamboyance at Christmas and this is going to look so glamorous. I've got these two, they're the ends off picks and I've used loads of pieces off them. I'm down to my last of these now. So I'm just going to wire these together. I wonder if I can staple them together. I bet I haven't got any staplers in here now. We'll find out. Okay, so there we have definitive proof that stapling doesn't really do it. Ah, well. It's given them a bit of grip now, and if I push all the staples together a bit, I know. This is typical me, isn't it? Try to get them sticking the same amount out each side. Pop on a finger protector before you burn your finger, preferably. Oh, look at this. My glue gun's been dribbling. It's been such a long time getting everything set up. I turned it on, and I didn't realise just how long it was going to be on before I used it. So now I want to put some ribbon on. And I thought this one, I love this. Look at that. I don't have a lot of it. And I've been keeping it for that perfect project. And I think I've found it. So you've got your options with this sort of thing. You can either make like a 2-loop bow out of this. Or you can go for one where you add a separate centre. I'm going to try a 2-loop bow. It doesn't always work with thicker ribbon. But sometimes it works out well. It's hit and miss. With narrow ribbon, double loop bow always works. So a little bit of fiddling around off camera and I've got it all right. Now I'm going to fold each piece in half like that lengthways. Pop the tails together and get your scissors and cut up from the wire to the centre. And then you've got perfect dovetails that are the perfect length. And now I'm going to glue this into place on the front. Oh, I'm already loving this. And it's still got, wait a minute. I'm rushing too fast. I've got another thing to do first. I did decide that this dangle, it's too long there, but I'm going to take all these, you see all these bits off? I'm going to take all those off. And I'm going to glue this into place there. I just think it adds a little bit of something. I may have overdone it. Let me know when I get to the end of this if you think I've overdone it. Pop that on there. Right, I have to hold it for a couple of seconds. And while I'm holding it, I'll add a little bit more hot glue and then pop that on and give it a couple of, possibly a whole minute to cool down, because I have used a rather thick blob. So while I'm waiting, I can just neaten up my bowl. Again, already I'm loving it, but there's more to do. I've got this Merry Christmas, and I thought that just finishes it off so perfectly. So I put a little bit of glue on here. Oops, my dangler's flopped again. Look at that. It has, and we can't be doing with floppy dangles. Come on, stay there. I know what I'll do. I've got to rush now because that's going to dry. Ah, disaster, disaster. I'm going to put something under there to hold it up. There we go. That'll do. And now, quick before this dries, where's the glue? Probably not where the ribbon is. But there we go. And did you see how quick that was? Did you see how easy that was? I'm sure you could do it, and your house will look fabulous with decorations like this hanging on the tree that are so quick to make. The most time-consuming part is waiting for the hot glue to dry. And I absolutely love that. I think it's as good as any high-end shop decoration that you would see. So give it a try. I bet you will be so surprised with what you come up with. Next easy Christmas craft, I'm going to take this skewer. I use these for lots of things, including stirring my paint. So I get through quite a lot of these, and I'm going to get some of these beads and some of these cotton reels and make a decoration. But these cotton reels are a little bit boring. I bought these in a thrift store. I think they were originally from a craft store. I don't think you'd actually store anything on them. I think they are for craft rather than for functional use, shall we say. And I'm going to wrap these around with some ribbon. Give them a country look. So I think I'm making a country decoration this time. You could paint these white and then put like glittery ribbons or lace or some sort of braiding on them, make them look very glamorous and glitz, but I'm going for the country look. So I'm just going to wrap this around a few times. Make it look like it's a reel that you're actually storing your ribbons or your fabric on, even though obviously they're not because they're too small, but you get the idea. You can spend ages getting these perfect, but I want it to look, again, because it's country, it looks like just your granny's living room sort of thing. You know, she's using them. She's not got them there just so she can show off to her friends. Oh, look at this. Look how posh I am with my very expensive decorations. It's just something she uses every day. You can put different colour ribbons on if you want to do. You don't have to have them the same. I'm going for a colour theme here. So I'm going to get my skewer, glue strings everywhere already. And then on the one end of my skewer, I'm going to put some glue like that. And I'm going to poke it into this bead. It's a lovely little bead. I ordered these from Temu, and they said they were 50 in the packet, and when they arrived, they were 10. They sort of really didn't turn out to be what I was expecting. So I contacted them. Fair play, they were pretty good. They just said, oh, we'll instantly refund you and you can keep the beads. And I was thinking, what can I do with 10 beads? It's not really enough. So I'm using them for little decorations. And now I'm going to start building up onto this skewer to make a long decoration. So pop that on there, and then a little bit of hot glue down here. I'm not cutting it to size yet. I mean, you can if you're a very accurate person. If I cut this to size, it's just never going to look the right length. It's going to be too long, too short. Something will go wrong. I'm not very good at doing that sort of thing. Measuring. Measuring's overrated. I'm more I'll give it a try. What could possibly go wrong? Famous last words. And then I'm going to put another bead on. And you don't have to put Christmas beads on. You can just put any bead you got. You can paint just a boring bead up to look really pretty or Christmassy with reds or greens. And then you could flick some white paint off a brush and make it speckly like it'd been snowed and on top of the bead. So lots of alternatives. And I think I'm just going to go for, I did have 3, but I think that's going to be too long. It's going to look silly. So I can now see I want this about here, and I'm going to do the Caroline Johnson method, which is snap it off. I know it's not the best method. And then that's going to fit on there. So a little bit more glue. And on it goes. Now, even with the skewer underneath, I'm going wonky, but I don't care because this is going to be so pretty and so country and so just charming farmhouse, you're not going to have to worry about that. So the next thing I want to do is make a hanger. Now I've got several alternatives. I could use white. I could use this ribbon. I think I'll use this. I did think I'd show you a selection, but looking at them, no, nothing's going to do other than a nice black gingham. So I've got a longer piece here. These are pieces, you can see, still a little bit of glue from something else I made a while ago. Is that longer? What do you reckon? Now they're both exactly the same size. Tie a knot. And then we're just going to glue this. I think I'm going to trim these ends off a little bit shorter. There. Jump. Yep, this is looking more wonky every time I look at it. And then pop that in there. And I was going to say, by putting it in the hole, you know it's going to hang perfectly straight. If yours is like a dog's hind leg like mine, it probably won't work. It'll be a little bit wonky, but we don't mind, do we? Because we craft on this channel for the fun of it, for the pleasure. And if you are a perfectionist, it's not a problem. But if it goes wrong, we just have a laugh. So now that's done, we need to cover this shirt. So now I got the option. I could use a nice little white bow. I could use a red, well, the red spots here. I've got all my, no, that's not going, is it? I've got all my ribbons laid out in front of me so I can see my selections. Oh, what about this? That looks pretty. Oh, wait a minute, it's green. Let's try the green. Let's unravel a bit of that. Oh, I think the green might look nice. I'm going for green. I didn't think I was going to. That's what I love about crafting. You get to make discoveries all the time. Like, you can't tie the knot there because there's masking tape on the end of your ribbon. That sort of thing. There we go. I'm now enlightened. Always check that. So I'm going to move up. That's one thing you do find with a two-loop bow. You just make two loops, tie it together, but you usually waste a little bit of ribbon. But I think it's worth it for getting such a lovely bow so easily. And then when you're happy with the size of your bow, hold the two edges together. Now I'm not going to dovetail these. I think they're a bit small. I'm just going to cut them off straight like that. And then glue it into place. See which side's the best. Somehow I've ended up with one on real facing with the best way one and the other one facing the other way. Never mind, never mind. I won't tell anybody if you don't. Okay, that's our little secret. I have so many little secrets about my crafting errors, but I don't care because I enjoy crafting. Oh yes, that is lovely. Shame I know what I'm going to, like, I've just come up with a solution. That there just looks a bit messy, so I'm going to get another piece of ribbon. And I'm going to go over the top. Like that. And nobody'll ever know, as long as you don't tell them. It's our little secret, don't forget. Now we need to decorate the bottom, and I thought something simple would really enhance the country look of this. And so I got these little pine cones. I dried them out and then I just painted them with a dry paintbrush and a bit of acrylic paint, and they look like they've been snowed on. So I'm just going to put that in there, and the idea is, I'm going to put my glasses on. You can see I've used this before. I'm going to try and cut that little knobbly bit off the end there. Flatten it down. The idea is that this is going to hang straight. I wouldn't mind betting it's not going to hang straight. Pop it on. Stick that on the bottom, like that. Oops, before it dries, turn it round so you like the side that's on show. I think we can hide that because it's not a very pretty join, so I'm going to stick on another little bow. This time it's going to be a small two-loop bow. That's one thing you do need to be accurate on now that they are vaguely lined up. Oh, down there I want to put it. I nearly put it in the wrong place anyway. So down between the pine cone and your last bead, and pop him into place. And look at that. I absolutely love that. I think it is so beautiful, even though it is a bit wonky. That, for me, would speak Christmas. You stick that on a Christmas tree and, well, it takes you back years and years, decades ago. Well, I suppose something like this could have been on a tree 100 years ago. I love it. Ooh, makes me want Christmas to happen now. For this next quick and easy Christmas craft, I've got this little test tube with a little cork lid. I got these from the Works, I think it was. I think I paid $1.99 for a selection of sizes, and this is the biggest one. And I've got just a couple of bits and pieces. I got this, which is just the end of a pick, but I want to make it shorter because it's a little bit too long. I want it to be about 2/3 of the way up the jar. So I'm just going to chop the bottom off. You can chop the top off, but then you'll have an ugly end. So chop your bottom off. Well, don't chop your bottom off. It'll be very uncomfortable. Chop the bottom of this off and poke it into the jar. Don't poke too far or you'll get your finger stuck. Get a pen or something like that to push it down with. I'm always very wary about poking my finger in places ever since I had a nasty experience with a soda siphon. If you really want to know, ask me and I'll tell you in the next video what happened to me and the soda siphon. I'll get it right. So now I'm going to take these berries, and I was going to put a clump of them in, but I think I may put them in loose. Oh, I don't know. Let's cut a clump off. You know me and changing my mind. I'm terrible. The only thing is you've committed yourself. Once you put something in this little test tube, you may be able to get it out with the tweezers, but it's going to be a real challenge. And cutting these is going to be a real challenge. No, I think I'm going to take them off. I know. Yeah, I think pulling them off is going to be the best idea because where I can't get my fingers in there to actually position them where I want them to be, I think they're going to look a little bit, well, they're not going to look as good as they could. For now, I'm just going to feed these in as well. And I'm going to use my pokey thing for this because it's a bit smaller. And try to turn the beads, like if they got a bit of white on them, try turning them in, unless you want it to look like snow. That one's too big. You can come out. Haha. I didn't think it was going to then. Oh, I'll tell you what. Let's just pop them all in. They won't go in. Get in. They're sticking with the static to my fingers. So as soon as I drop them, they just come away from the test. See that? Get in. Okay then. Oh no, this is really not. Come on, stop it. Be professional. There we go. Oh no. Right, that's it. I'm not putting any more in. Life is too short. It's the thing with the polystyrene. So I'm going to pop them down. And try and move them some around until you've got a pleasing display. They look like peas in a pod. Those ones there, don't they? They look like red peas in a pod. I think I'm going to leave it like that. So now, when I put my lid back on, I'm going to put a little tiny bit of hot glue there. I don't want too much. Don't know if it'll crack the glass, but just in case. And then pop the lid on. And then I'm just going to make a hanger now. And you know the routine for making a hanger. And then I'm going to open that out and glue it in place there. So it almost looks like there's a bow on it. There's a little bit of glue. I'm trying not to get it everywhere. Get the berries facing front. Pop it on. And then I'm going to tie another 2-loop bow. That should give this a little bit more depth because you've got the ends of the hanger on as well. And then glue this onto the front of the hanger, hiding the knot that you've glued in place. And then a little small embellishment. What should we put on? I think I'll put a few of these white beads on. It's always worth keeping even the smallest little bits and pieces when it comes to making Christmas decorations because they're so small, especially ones for the tree. Then it doesn't take a lot. And you can use it as an enhancement. And look at that. I think that just lifts it a bit, putting the white on. That's looking more like peas in a pod all the time. I did think those berries were a bit smaller than that. And it's only when you get them in I can see, okay, so they were rather large. So I would recommend you do that with smaller berries. So there we go. I'm really pleased with it. And I just think lovely traditional colours. So I think we'll go for that one being called a traditional decoration. Green, red and white. Can't beat it. If you're enjoying what I'm doing so far, if you've got any inspiration or you've had a lot of fun watching, don't forget to subscribe. It may be an idea to turn your video on to pause for the moment, go subscribe and come back because if you're anything like me, you'll forget. Well, anyway, let's get back to crafting. This quick and easy Christmas craft, I got a few things here, and one thing I've got is a light bulb. Now this may sound a little bit weird, it's one of the old-fashioned ones. You may have one hanging around the place somewhere that's broken. out in your shed, out in your garage, check with your parents, your grandparents. They could well have one. I found this when I was out mudlarking, which is looking for things in the mud by the riverbeds. And it's whole other than the fact the top's gone, which suits me perfectly because I'd have removed it anyway. I've got one of these twigs. I've pulled it apart and shortened it, so I'm going to glue the long one into place. Be careful because if you look in there closely, you can see some wires. I just won't be touching those, and then it's going to be completely covered, so it's not a problem. Pop some of that in there. Be very careful when you're working with glass. Make sure you've got safety goggles on, just in case the glass does explode because you're using hot glue. And you could even break it and it could shatter. So really you should have protection on your hands as well. So I know it's very naughty. Don't do as I do as I say. I don't want you hurting yourselves. And then I'm going to come in with the others. Where's it gone? Everything's clattering. I've lost it. It is. Pop that one in there. And hopefully they'll settle before the glue dries. If not, you can always pop a bit more glue in. Yep, I'm going to pop a bit more glue in. I'm trying not to overdo the glue. You may not have a glass bulb. Quite understandable. So you can just use a Christmas bauble. An old bauble you don't like. It won't look quite the same, but it'll be virtually the same. And now before I go any further, I'm going to put my hanger on. Sit. Stay. So I've got a couple of options. I've got this. I don't know whether to use that as a hanger. I think it'll take away from the look of the decoration. So I think I'm going to use something like this. Yes, I'll go for twine. I'm going to see how this hangs, and I'm going to glue it to the back of the branch. The notch will give it a little bit more grab. I'm going to glue it to the back of the branch like that. So now it's just a matter of putting a bit of decoration on. This is so simple. I got this vintage ribbon. Look at that. It's gorgeous. It almost reminds me of film. You know, they used to film the movies on and there are marks on it, but I don't mind. So now I'm going to make a bow. So I'm going to make a bow shape like that. You can see it comes up, around and down the other side. And then pinch the middle. In the ideal world, your ribbon will be wired. This is a bit stiff on the edges, but it's not wired. I prefer working with a wired ribbon, but I wanted to use this vintage ribbon. I don't want to leave things sat in my drawer. I've got too many nice things sat in my drawer for one day. Keeping for best sort of thing. And I don't like doing that. So this Christmas, I'm using up a lot of my really pretty things. I'll pull the tails down, put them together, fold them in half, and then cut up to the middle. And that's going to glue in the centre. And that's the look I'm going for. Completely flamboyant and over the top. You know me. I'm going to put the glue above the glass because it's making me nervous. I really don't want to break that glass. If you're using a bauble that you just don't like anymore, there's a good chance it's plastic because most are nowadays. Although I've noticed glass ones are starting to come back in again. So while that's cooling off, I got some more ribbon. And it's thinner. This one is about 1 inch wide. And with this, I'm going to make a 2-loop bow. I'll go up a fair bit because I want to make sure I got plenty of tail. Tie my loops. Let it wiggle and jiggle and do its thing. And then measure down. I want these tails to be a little bit shorter than the white ones. So come down roughly where the tails are, fold it in half, go up a little bit, about 1 inch I suppose, and cut up to the centre, away from the edges for those perfect dovetails. And then I'm going to glue this onto the top. Check which is your best side. I think that is. And glue this near the top. If you've got a white pipe cleaner, you haven't got to worry so much about covering it. Or you can go around this with a layer of ribbon as well to hide the pipe cleaner. You can see that's hiding the pipe cleaner other than down the bottom, but that's not a problem because we're going to add a little bit of embellishment. I've got several things here I wasn't sure what to put on. I'm wondering whether to just put some lovely white berries on. I think that's going to work. Let's chop these ugly ends off and have a look if I put some white berries. I think that's lovely. I don't think we need to put any foliage. I'll put that there and then we can always... Oh, it's already starting to stick. I'll put that in place. Whoops. that, and then we'll have a look and see what it would look like with some foliage on the top. Yep, I'm going to put some foliage on the top, so let's chop the ends off. Always chop the ugly ends off because they just stick out, get in the way, and I've got these little rosebuds as well I think are going to look lovely. So more hot glue. Is your glue gun got a Christmas hat? I hope so. Poor glue guns, they tend to miss out on the fun. So mine always gets to have a lovely Christmas hat of sorts. Doesn't always stay on, but this year I think I've cracked it. Put those there, and then just one there. I haven't got three, and I like working in threes. No, I've decided, I've changed my mind. I'm going for something completely different. I'm going to put this angel on. She's a vintage angel. I got a few of them from an auction. It's always worth keeping your eye out in eBay, auctions, anything like that. You never know what's going to come up. And I'm going to put them, I don't know if it's a boy or a girl, but we'll pop them on there like that. And as I say, you don't have to worry about a glass light bulb. I just like the idea of using up my light bulb, and I just think the reflection's a bit scratched when it's been in the river. But I think it transforms it into a high-end decoration, and that really didn't take long at all. The longest part was trying to cut through the wires, really, on the... Look at that. Trying to cut through the wires on this long piece of, well, a pick. What do you reckon? Is that going to be your favourite? Well, hold fire. We've got a few more to go yet.
Angels we have heard on high, sweetly singing o'er the plains, and the mountains in reply, echoing their joyous strains.
This quick and easy Christmas decoration is purely from scraps and bits and pieces I got around the house. I picked this up today actually in the charity shop or thrift store for 20p, along with a few of these that were 20p each. So I thought, well, I'll put those in. I've got a few of this sort of thing. I didn't have any grapes, and I don't have enough of these, so now I do. These are bits and pieces I've had left over from a Temu order last year. This one as well. So I'm going to get out my cutters and I'm going to cut these to a length. Now, they are bigger than usual because, as I say, so many people have bigger trees nowadays. So I'm making them big, but you can make them as small as you want to. It's not a problem. You just shrink them down a little bit. You can even cut the bunch of grapes, or you can not use a bunch of grapes. You could use a bunch of berries. I've cut this so that the green piece isn't as long as the golden piece. And then I'm going to add on the red berries. Decide where I want those to be. I think they look a little bit awkward all the way down there, so I'm going to move them up a little bit. Out with the gold pipe cleaner. And wrap it around a few times. I think we can lose those ones. They're just in the way. And I'll wrap this very tightly. Whoops, might as well chop that one off as well. Round and round, and they're not going anywhere. So next thing we need to do is add this, and I wanted to get these together before you put this on. It's surprising how difficult it is. The more branches you get in the end, you just can't hold everything in place. So now, just pop those on. I think they'll open up a bit, and I think they look a lot better. It's the same if you buy any pick. Make sure that it's opened as much as you want it to, because they tend to get squashed when they're in the box, when they're being delivered to the shop or store. So if you open them out, you just get a lot more bang for your buck then. Look at that now, that's much fuller. And all I did was just move a couple of the wires. And I'm even going to bring some around because I don't need them at the back. So I might as well bring as much as I want around to the front. Most of these are wired, and you can just move them to where you want them to go and it won't damage them at all. Just check they are wired. I wouldn't want you to damage a decoration that was like made of something breakable. I don't know what. And now I'm just going to adjust this one underneath because, again, wires are quite happy to be bent. And I'll make sure that you can see red sticking out the side of the gold. I've got this vintage, very sorry for itself looking decoration. I thought, well, it's virtually ready for the bin, but I don't think it needs the bin just yet. So I think I will take that ribbon off. I think that is too far gone, so I'll get rid of that. And now I got this. And I want to put this on, but before I put it on, I'm going to put some red ribbon on. I was going to add a hanger to the top of this. And then now I've decided to take that little bit of ribbon off because it was far too tatty. I'm thinking what I might do is use that as the hanger. So as it is, there's some wire on this, otherwise you can glue it or wire it. So I'm just going to twist that around so that the wire holds tight on there. And then bend that down. And then pop that on the top, making sure that my ribbons are going where I want them to go before, not after, I fix it permanently in place. Like that. And then finish up by putting your little bits of pretty pipe cleaner round and around again until you've run out of pipe cleaner. And if you need to, add another one. I think I'm going to put a bit more on. Might as well make sure it's perfectly secure. Don't want it falling off. All your guests come around and suddenly plop, it falls off the tree. It lands on somebody's head. Oh yes, I like that. Chop off the pipe cleaner. Remember, don't do that if you've got a nice scissors. This one is a really good scissors. It's very, very strong. It's a Leitz or Lights, I think you would pronounce that. I love it. And now all we need to do is we need to get these dovetailed. I suppose in one sense it would have been better to have dovetailed them before I fixed it. And I think that is stunning. And I'm so pleased that I got a built-in hanger now. And I hadn't even thought of that. And that is going to look fabulous. I'll tell you what, if you made a dozen of those and just did your tree with those, can you imagine how amazing it would look? And you could even not do the loop on the top and use it on the top of your tree as a tree topper. Oh, I love Christmas. Have I ever mentioned that before? I think I may have once or twice. This next quick and easy Christmas craft is, believe it or not, inspired by a high-end decoration that I've seen in Harrods. I know, crazy or what? I've come to the conclusion that for the moment anyway, last year, and it's getting worse every year, you can find anything, cover it in glitter and say it's a Christmas decoration. You could cover that in glitter and say, there we go, a scissors-shaped Christmas decoration. You can find anything. Hey, a glue gun-shaped Christmas decoration. So, inspired by this and realising just because I'm not keen on them doesn't mean that people don't like them, then I'm going to make a strange, weird Christmas decoration inspired by Harrods. So first thing to do is to put a hanger on. I always like to get my hanger done. I should say this is just a little bit of a pick that I've had. You can see I've used this before on something. And I've got this which I think is suitably wildlife themed. And I'm going to make a little bow. Because I've not got a lot of this, I'm going to cut the dovetails first. Because it's going to be less fiddly. So match the ends, fold them in half and cut from the edges up to the middle. 2 perfect dovetails. Make a bow, and if I show you this, you can make a bow and think, well, it's still not working because you can see the backs of the ribbon. That's because you're looking at it the wrong way. You want to have it so that it's the wrong side facing you in the middle. Turn the one end around and then the other end around. And I know you can still see the middle, but don't panic because when you pinch it up, look at that. The ugly side's gone and all you can see is the good sides. Oops, a pink pipe cleaner here, so I'm just going to make sure it's at the middle. Bit of a twist. And using the pipe cleaner, I'm going to squash it on and then wrap this around. And then, this is so silly, but I do actually think it looks great. I tried it out. I didn't actually glue them on, but I put them in place and I thought I actually do, strangely and weirdly enough, like that. So I'm just going to get 3 of these little plastic lizards that somebody has already put some glitter on. So that's what inspired me, I think, seeing those. And I thought I could use those because everything in Harrods has just got glitter on it. But there are some specialist things and some really well thought out things. But there are a lot of things like bottles of ketchup or pickles. Well, pickles is quite a traditional thing, isn't it? But you name it, they've stuck it on a tree. This is something, if you've got a cool glue gun, I'm not sure how cool a glue gun it would need to be. I'm going to stop talking. I think I'm going to put that one over. I was going to put something on the front of the bow, but I think I'm going to put him on the front of the bow. Why not? Now that... That is really crazy. It's a real bit of fun. But it actually is inspired by a high-end decoration. What do you think of that? This is a another quick and easy Christmas decoration based on Harrods, because they started to do like pairs of Wellington boots and things, but also John Deere tractors, things like that. I think that was Harrods. May have been one of the others. You've got some very big names in London that have got wonderful Christmas departments. One day I'm going to go and look around them. But it's so busy at the moment, I've been put off by that. But one day I will go. Anyway, getting back to the craft. This was falling apart. I picked this up for, I think it was 10p, because the top of it's gone and this was very loose, this metal bit here. So I've hot glued that back on, settling down nicely now and cooling. But I don't want this man in this orange outfit on there. What does he look like? He's falling off anyway, look at him. So I'm going to give him a tug, pull him off. There we go. One man. I'm not sure. It looks more like a jockey really, doesn't he? I was wondering if this would fit instead. Oh yes, look, he fits perfectly. So I'm going to glue him into place. Clear off that little bit of hot glue from where the man was glued in, because otherwise it's not going to be able to sit flat because there's such a big lump of it. And then pop some on, pop my little snowman on. So now it's been driven by a snowman, much more fitting for Christmas. There we go, isn't that much more realistic? Right, now I want to decorate the sleigh with a few other things. I have this tree which is going to go at the back, but before I put that on the back, I want to just put some other little things on here to decorate it. So let's have a look what I've got in my little jar. Got this little angel here. Take her hanger off. So we could put her... Oh, I'll tell you what. First of all, I've got a wreath, haven't I? I could put this wreath on. Let's get rid of that because, as you know, I don't like using those. They're never sticky enough for me. And that is going to go on the front so that it looks like it is from a Christmas farm where you can buy your Christmas trees. The Christmas tree farm truck. So a little bit of hot glue where it touches, which I think is there and there. And we'll ignore the hot glue strings that are where they shouldn't be. And pop that into place. Oh yes, that's starting to look really good. Now I want to put a hanger on before we go any further. I'm going to check the way this hangs. I'm holding it lightly. There does seem to be a little bit more weight to the back. So I'll put the hanger on and then we can weight it by adding lots of other bits. So I thought, let's go for a blingy glitter hanger for this one. Can't beat a bit of festive silliness. And at the end of the day, when was the last time you saw a flying tractor being driven by a snowman? So I think we've gone past the realms of reality. That ship has long sailed. So now we'll be able to hang it from that, but not just yet because it's still a little bit soft. And we're going to add some more decoration. So what we got here, we've got a headless Santa. There's his head. Oh, he's a gnome. He's got an arm missing as well. These are just, I picked these up in the thrift store or charity shop. I'm really not worried about the state on them. So let's have a look what we got. I got one of those either side. You've got these little tiny hangers on. I can take those off. I don't think they do anything for the little men. I suppose I could put a little white pom-pom on there. I'm going to glue these to cover these holes. There. And one on this side. And he looks like he's guarding the snowman and the tree because this is a very special celebration. And it's like a parade. And just for the fun of it, I'm going to put a penguin on the front. I know. It amuses me. So now I'm going to put, better show you. You can see where the hookup thingy is there. There's a hole. If there wasn't, I could just cut this flush and then glue it into place. But I think it's going to be so much easier with that little hole. So I'm going to pop some hot glue there to give my tree a bit of hold. And on it goes. And I love that. Look at that. It really is just a silly bit of fun. Nothing technical. Again, if you've got a cool hot glue gun, I'm pretty sure they're safe for children. You could get the children to join in. Just pick up all these little things like this you see at the thrift stores, charity shops, or even on offer after the end of Christmas. And then they just really change things up. And I think that is a bit of fun. And just remember, the high-end shops are making things that look like this. If you don't believe me, check them out on YouTube. Unfortunately, I remembered I hadn't turned my camera on when I was only about 20 seconds into filming. So I got these, which are vintage. I got them for £1 from the thrift store or charity shop. I think because nobody wanted to untangle them. Neither did I. So I'm going to use them as donor items for my Christmas decorations. This isn't going to tie very well with these little beads, so I'm going to get a piece of pipe cleaner. I don't need that length. It's so tempting sometimes to use the middle and then you end up with 2 short ends you can't do anything with. I'm going to just bend those around, trim the ends, use the flat end of my pincers then to just make sure there are no sticky out bits that are going to catch somebody's hands. Check it out to make sure it's nice and smooth, being careful you don't cut your own fingers, and then chop the tops off. I've got a built-in hanger. Now, instead of putting a clapper in the bottom, which is where the saying comes from, oh, he was going like the clappers. It means he was going really quickly like the clappers in a bell if he was ding-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling. But instead of clappers, we're going to put some gold foliage to make this a real glam over the top decoration. So I've got bits and pieces. Again, all bits I picked up from thrift stores, charity shops. It is amazing what you can come up with. And remember, a pick can be dismantled. Always worth knowing, because sometimes you get a damaged pick, think, oh, I don't want that. Don't worry about that. You can take all the bits off. I've got this rather hairy looking ball of, it's a felt ball, but it's got lots of hairs off one of my decorations on it. So I'm never going to pick those all off. So I thought, well, that's a good one to use up inside the bauble. And now when I glue things in, I've got a base to stick them to, otherwise it's just a big gaping hole. Just decide what bits of these decorations I'm going to use. The fun thing with this sort of crafting is that you can take your time and really savour the moment and enjoy improving your design skills and the way your brain works and how you look at things and how you decide where they want them to go. And just with a little bit of extra thought, you can make things look a lot better than just plonking them in. And eventually, you just get to the point where it's natural and you always just put things, well, not always, more often than not, you put things right where they should be and they look perfect. And remember, perfect, it may not be perfect for somebody else, but if it's perfect to you, then that's all that matters. Whenever you're doing something like this, remember that you can make things look so much better by being lavish. Don't ever scrimp on the things you're putting onto your decoration. You're better off putting loads and loads and loads on, bordering on too much, just so it's got lots of interest and it looks like an extravagant high-end decoration. I think I'm going to squash even more in down here, just to make sure it is sumptuous. We do love a bit of sumptuousness. Is sumptuousness even a word? Possibly it's, possibly isn't, but it is now. When you're at my home on the hillside, we can have as much sumptuousness as we like, even if the dictionary tells us we can't. And then just to make sure that it is as sumptuous as it possibly could be, I've added loads and loads of golden leaves on the top. Just trying to pull some of the strings off. So that now, whether you look at it from the top or whether it's on a high place on your tree and you're looking at it from the bottom, it is absolutely crammed with interest and gorgeousness. And you can make these in whatever colour you like. You can even paint your bells to suit if you want to. Make them all red, all green, all psychedelic rainbow colours. It's up to you. For this next quick and easy Christmas decoration, I am going to make something using these. They're really simple. They're very effective. Look at the glitter on those. And they're just self-adhesive star things. I think you can get them from places like Dollar Tree over in America. I think I got these from, one of the cheap shops. We got several over here. It may have been the Works. I'm not quite sure. So they're easy enough to pick up or something similar. Don't worry if you can't get exactly the same. It really doesn't matter. I got this spangle. I got a box of these. You've probably seen them over and over in my videos. I'm still trying to use them up. They're great fun. But if you can't get one of these, you can use just a normal bauble. Now, this is an ugly bauble I just grabbed from my box of bits just to show you. But you don't need something like this. If you can't get it, don't think, oh, I can't make that then. You can. You just stick something else on the bottom. So I've got some cotton. And I want to get a really long length of cotton. Oh, let's say about 18 inches long-ish. And then thread it through a needle. Now, I've got a new discovery in my crafting life, and that's these. They're self-threading needles because my eyes have gone. I can't see with my glasses on to thread a needle properly. But all you do is get your thread, you put it on the little groove in the top of the needle, pull until you feel a click, and it's threaded. Oh, how easy is that? I love that. So my favourite ways to thread a needle now. Well, I don't even buy normal needles anymore. I always buy these. So now I want to make, as you can see, there's a little hole there where the metal went through. I want to make a hanger. If you've got a bauble, you can hook this through the top of a bauble. I don't know if I got one near. No, I haven't. Do you know, with the proper little bauble hanger on? So just go through there. And that's all I wanted this needle for, was to thread it through there, because I wouldn't have fancied threading it through there. Well, you couldn't have done it, I don't think, without a needle. And then I'm going to take the needle off the cotton, but I'm not going to leave the cotton doubled. I want this to be virtually invisible. Pop that out the way. All done with that. And then match the ends up if you can find them, unless you've got a right mess like me. And then I'm going to tie a knot as close to the bottom as I can get. It's not essential, just to make sure it doesn't keep slipping around and around. Next thing I'm going to do is form the hanger on the top. So I'm going to just, this is just a preliminary knot. I may need to go shorter, but I'm just going to do a double knot. Whoops. I think I've done 2 in a row, have I? No, I worked out as a double one. And chop the end off. And now I just get one of these. I won't use that one because I've used that for a few trials on different things. So the sticky is getting less and less strong. And then I'm going to pop one. I think I'll start with this side first. So you can, if I hold it up, it's very fiddly to show you. I'm going to put that there so the cotton comes between the gap of the flower and up to the top petal. Depends on how many petals you've got on yours. Turn it over and then get another one. And then stick it in exactly the same position, only on the back. Now this has 2 functions. One, it really makes sure that that thread isn't going anywhere. And 2, if it does spin around, it doesn't matter because it looks good from any angle. And I just noticed that this has got tangled around this and now it's too far up, so I'm going to have to take my life in my hands. Plus that's a bit of a dramatic description of what I'm going to do. I'm just going to open it back up and move it down. If you find your stickies are not sticky enough, just add a blob of hot glue, that'll do fine. So the dangle's done there. You may decide you want it to dangle longer, but I think that's lovely. I mean, you can do things with this now. Or as I say, if you're putting a bauble on, it would look like that, which I don't think is as glamorous. And then you know me, any excuse for a bow. So I've made one, judging what size I want it to be. Just straighten off the edges. This isn't my sharpest scissors. I don't know why I picked this one up. Then I'm just going to dab some hot glue on here. Now, it won't be as mobile. Oops, blob on the bottom. It won't be as mobile if I glue in this joint. If you're using one with a joint on, once you've glued it, it'll be a bit static. But that doesn't matter because as long as it's hanging down, the movement will come from the hanger dangling from the tree. And look at that. It's really simple to make. You can get any sort of decoration like this and you can get anything to dangle from the bottom. And there you've got yourself a really glamorous Christmas decoration. Quick and easy and such fun. And also, if you don't use the hot glue, then they're perfect for children to use and make because there's nothing dangerous to it, really. Just keep an eye on them with the needle in case, if they're a bit younger, you don't want them stabbing themselves with it. So there we got another Christmas decoration. Oh, there's only one more to go. We've done 10.
Angels we have heard on high, sweetly singing o'er the plains.
For this quick and easy Christmas decoration, I'm not going to make a hanger. For this one, I'm going to use a little piece of pipe cleaner. Now, you can pre-organise this. If you've got a white tree, you can use a white one. If you've got a green tree, you can use a green one. And if you've got a silver tree, you can use a silver one. I'm going for silver just because it was the first one I picked up. Nothing technical there. I wanted a sparkly one. I've got various colours. I don't think you could really use other colours because they wouldn't look good. It's got to be something that coordinates. I've got this ribbon. This is gorgeous. I think this is 3-inch. Is it? Could be 2.5. Yep, it's 2.5 inch. And it's beautiful. Can you see all the glitter on it? And I'm going to make a bow with it. Straighten it out. It's wired on the edges. You don't get this effect if you don't get a wired ribbon. And then make yourself a loop on one side and come around with a loop on the other. Aha, this has got an inside and an outside. Make sure your good side is on the outside. So go round and make one loop, round and make the other loop. And then pinch it up together like that. And you've got yourself a really simple, easy bow. Look at that already. Get your pipe cleaner. I'm going to use the middle of this. I don't normally go for the middle because it wastes pipe cleaner, but I'm leaving these on to tie around the tree. So you want them to be as long as possible. A couple of twists. Out with your scissors and cut off your bow. Now, you don't need to dovetail these. You can leave them as they are. I think I'll dovetail them. So if I'm going to dovetail them, I'll do one. And then I'll do the other, rather than do them both at the same time. Because they're so close together, that can get a bit fiddly. And I do them either way now, but what I usually say is start at the bottom and go up to the middle. Now make sure your bow is nice and even. Floof it out a bit by pulling the loops, but don't worry because that'll need redoing before we finish. And I'm just going to put those out sideways so they're not in my way. If you wanted to make this into a dangling one, you could put a little branch of something behind and then have it dangling. But I don't want it like that. I just want one of the bows that you attach directly to your Christmas tree branch. So I was thinking about these white thingies, but no, I think I'll keep those for a dangly one. I'm going to use this. Can you see this? It's gorgeous vintage trim, I suppose you'd call it. It's like a rickrack with very posh bits on. I just want to put this there to dangle. Now, I suppose really I should have done this at the stage when I tied the pipe cleaner. So I'm just going to show how easy it is if you forget something, because I forgot to put this on. First, just take your pipe cleaner off. Hold everything in place whatever you do. Don't let it go. Otherwise, you have to start right from the beginning and give it a twist. Make sure everybody's happy. Are you all happy? Yes, we're all happy. Good. You're a bit wonky. Oh, sorry. And there we got a nice bow. Now tighten it up. Pop these back out to the side. And look at that. It's looking fabulous already. If we didn't do anything else to it, I think it'd be fine. I'm just going to trim these edges because they're a little bit uneven. And a little bit, the one is fraying a bit. There we go. That's better. Oh, look at that. And of course, you can use any ribbon you want. And make it look any design, any colour you want. So next I've got these. I've been using these for years. I bought them in a box, loads of them. And I'm just going to put that there. I just thought, should I put something lighter behind it to make it really show up? I just cut a little piece of this fur material. I use this for gnomes' beards, only a little bit. And then floof out the fluff. Floof out the fluff. And then look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? It's not too much. It just gives it that little bit of a magical oomph behind it. So I always, with these, either with my scissors or with my nail, take the back out because glitter doesn't always glue well. And then spread this around as even as I can get it. Do your best. But just remember to have fun. That's more important than having everything perfect. Yep, that's going to be fine. A little blob in the centre. Hot glue. Pop that on there. Try not to burn my fingers. Oh, that's rather hot. And then another blob of hot glue there. And glue it to the centre of your bow. Oh yes, I definitely think that's improved it. I didn't want anything too showy behind because I think the star of this is the bow and the braid. You can see, even if somebody squashes them when they're being, look at that. You put it in your box till next year and this is what happens. Because it's wired ribbon, it's not a problem. Fiddle around with it like that. And look, it's good as new. Don't do that until you've had your glue dry though. I just wiggled everything around when my glue was still a little bit too cool or too hot. Not sticky enough. not stuck, however you want to put it. So now you just fix this to the branch of your Christmas tree, and look at that. And can you imagine a tree if you made 10, 20, 30 of these and put them all over your tree? Either all different ones, or I think they'd look best if you did all the same. Put them everywhere on your tree. I'm not sure if that's my favourite. I think it is. What do you reckon? Let me know what your favourite was. Anyway, thank you for joining me. I've had a great time making these Christmas crafts. It's been so good to know that you're along here with me and you're picking up ideas and getting a little bit of inspiration. Don't forget to let me know in the comments if you're going to try making any of these, and of course which your favourite one is. Before you go, don't forget to subscribe. You know what it's like. You think, I'll come back to that channel. And then you forget to subscribe and then you have no idea where they are. So if you subscribe before you go, and I'll see you all next time. But until then, don't forget, happy crafting and have fun. Bye.
Angels we have heard on high, sweetly singing o'er the plains, and the mountains in reply, echoing their joyous strains. Glory